Okay, what you want to do is you want to log into DocuSign, and then you want to click on Templates, click on Share with Me, and for this first one, we're going to use the Housing Choice Voucher packets. You click on Use, and it takes a minute to load up. Once it opens, the first screen you're going to see is all the documents that are in this particular template. Scroll down to where it says Add Recipients, and then don't do anything with this. Just start typing in your head of household person. In this case, we're going to use a Mary Smith. And we're going to use my email address for Formidable, just so you can see how this works. Then for the second person, who you'll notice it says needs to view. Again, don't change any of these options. You're going to want to, I'm changing this to DocuSign. And what that's going to do is I'll actually set this up where it actually goes to Jaquetta at her RM at Lincoln Park email address. But for this test or this sample, I'll show you how it works. And she's just going to view it, but I'll show you the steps to that. Don't change any of the rest of these unless you absolutely know the adult's full name and whether they have an email address or a phone number, a cell phone number preferably, because it's going to send them a text message with a link how to go about signing their documents. There's enough documents here for a total of 5 signers. And then you can either do roughly, you can individualize each message that goes to the person, or you can send them all the same email. In this particular case, I went to individualize because I want the one that's going to the office to have a little bit of instructions on it. Okay. And then you come down here to this yellow next and click on that. And again, it takes a second for everything to actually load up. Don't touch any of this stuff. This is all fields that make it available for the signer to type in information. So don't change any of this. Just go down here to this yellow send and click send. And it's going to take a minute for it to take the whole envelope, which the whole envelope is all of those papers that each of those 5 adults are going to need to sign if you have a total of 5. And then once it's made the envelope and it's now sent, then it'll pop up to this screen where you see, okay, this is the envelope that I just sent to them with Mary Smith on it. There may be another one that you send to a totally different person, and you'll see that head of household name right here at the top. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to act as though I'm Mary Smith and fill out the paperwork, and we're going to see what to do next on your end. Okay, so once the envelopes get sent out to the head of household, it basically is going to create probably about 6 emails. One of those emails is going to say, update the signer list, and it's going to go to Jaquetta at her email address. That's fine. Don't actually do anything with this email yet. Wait until you get an email that looks like this, where it says Mary Smith, which was the head of household, viewed the annual recert papers for head of household. Okay, it's just giving you an update that yes, she got it and that she is now looking at it to actually fill it out. Okay, wait about maybe 15 minutes, a half hour, and you can ignore that. Don't even worry about clicking on view documents. You can just close that email and go back into DocuSign. Go to your home page and scroll down just a little bit, and you see where it says Annual Recert Papers for Head of Household. That's the one we just sent. Click on that. And again, it takes a minute because there's so many forms. It takes a minute to completely load up for you. Okay, so once everything loads, once everything opens, you're going to see this button called Correct. Click on that. And once everything loads up, again, you're going to see all the documents. You can just click that up arrow to close that. You'll see now that under Add Recipients, which is all your signers, you'll see that Mary Smith is now grayed out because that means she signed. We have Jaquetta's, which just don't worry about that one at all. I take that back. I'm sorry, I'm going to take you back one step. When you see the documents, there's 3 little buttons in a row over here. Click on those, and you want to just download this one continuing occupancy form. And the reason why you want to download it is because you need to print it off for the rest of the recipients that you need to fill in. And you can just save it to your desktop and then click on the download. I would suggest printing it off so that you can see the phone numbers or the email addresses that you're going to need to send to. You have the person's name, their email address, how old, their date of birth, so you know how old they are, that type of thing. So we're going to print this off. And once you print off that continued occupancy list from the head of household, now you can go over here to the up arrow so you can collapse those documents. Then you come down to these different people. So don't touch Jaquetta's. For where it says second resident, you're going to type in John Smith And then, oops, his email address, which in this particular case, I'm just going to use my Formidable address. And then she had a third adult whose name was James Jones. Okay. And Mary only listed herself and two other adults. So now, once you get to this step, now it is safe to go ahead, and she doesn't have any more adults in the household. Now it's safe to click the little trash can for delete. You can delete the fifth signer. Basically, you're deleting the paperwork for other adults that you don't need, because she only has 3 adults in the household. So this is Mary, this is Jaquetta, which is the office, this is John Smith, and this is James. And those are the only people in our household. Once you get that, once you've now updated their names and their email addresses, or say they had a phone number instead of an email address, you would click on text and you would put their phone number in there. Okay. In this particular case, we're going to use email. And then you're good to go. You just go down here again to next, which is the yellow button on the lower right-hand side. Click on it. And then when everything loads up, you click the correct button so that now you can send to the rest of the household. And once that sends to the rest of the household, those other 2 adult members, at this point, you can just go ahead and close your DocuSign, because your DocuSign is going to time out after about 30 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes. So you can just log out. Okay, so when John and James have each filled out their paperwork, you're going to get an email letting you know that John has viewed his paperwork and is starting to fill it out. And then you're going to, at the same time, whenever James opens his up to start filling his out, you're going to get an email saying that James Jones also is viewing his packet and he's filling that out. You can just ignore them, but that kind of like lets you know what's going on in the process. And then you can come back over to DocuSign, log in, because at this point you pretty much know that the packet is now, everybody has signed. And you log into DocuSign. We need one more, which I think what I'm going to do is I'm thinking, because of the way this is processing, we might actually even just take Jaquetta out of the mix. And let's see, and basically once everyone signs that's on that list that you put on that envelope, you'll get an email. As you can see, you'll get an email that says completed annual recert papers. It's going to tell you as each one completes it. But then what you can do is you can either click on here, and I'm going to wait to show you that for just a second. You refresh your screen. So you go up to the top of the browser and just refresh it. You'll see that now this whole envelope that you sent out to this household is completed. You're going to click download, and it's going to you can do it all in one PDF. So I would suggest doing it that way, and click download. And you can save it to your desktop, and then you can open it. And here is the whole packet. Let me see if I can enlarge this just a tad so you can see, because this is a video. So basically, here's your continued occupancy with each of the household members and their information. And then you just start scrolling through. This is the formidable release of information. This is the new 988.6A that now only gets signed once a year. So we have that packet in there, that particular set of documents in here, which each of them are going to sign. And then we have, in case that you're doing an old annual recert, we have the older 9886 for them to sign also. So you have both versions depending on what year the annual recert is. And then here's Mary's eligibility checklist with all of her answers, yes, no, how much she makes per month for Social Security, that she has a checking account and she has a Direct Express card, and it already has the amounts in it, because she's gonna be required to actually enter those amounts onto this form. Same thing, she pays Medicare premiums, and that's how much her Medicare premiums are each month. And then it just goes through each of the pages. You can go through each of the pages. We have a zero income form in there. You'll see where that is going to pop up later. These are all going to be blank. Obviously, you don't want to print the blank ones, okay? But we have the basic ones in there. Then we have her, for the emergency contact, we have it so that she can put in an emergency contact, or she can check the box down at the bottom and then sign it and date it. And it gets actually dated and the date and the time on it. And you can just keep on going, scrolling through. These are 2 extra sheets that we put in here. And what these sheets are going to do is they're going to force the person to upload copies of pay stubs, Social Security letters, bank statements, anything that you normally would ask for that they bring in. They can just take a photo of it and upload that photo. This is going to be John Smith's, her husband. He's working, putting in the monthly amount. Wendy's, again, similar to everything you've already seen before with this new checklist. He has a savings account that he's going to put in the interest rate for that savings account, the name, and also the name of the bank. So at least you have all of that information that you need. In his particular case, because his wife is the head of household and she is, I believe, 62 or above, let's say she is, okay? So now he can claim his out-of-pocket prescriptions, which he pays $60 a month for, because he's going to enter in the monthly amount. These are going to be monthly amounts. And again, he's going to sign that. He works, so he doesn't have these filled out. He doesn't need to have these filled out. And then his I call it an emergency contact form, the 92006 he signs. And then this is his form where he needs to upload his pay stubs and whatever he said yes to. Basically, this form here is just a placeholder to force them to upload anything that you need as far as from them, like copies and receipts or whatever. With James, I wanted to show you, James is the third person in the household, and we have this question that says, I received no income. And right here in the yes and no section, it says no income. So basically, all he had to do was just scroll down through the whole thing, click his name so he could sign it, and then now it forced him, what it did by saying no, he has no income, it forced him to fill out the zero income verification. And it's the form where it asks all the different questions. He has the ability to type in whoever does pay for that. And it forces them to actually enter in something into that field so that, like if they were doing it with pen and paper, a lot of times they leave it blank. This is now going to force them to actually enter something in there. And then he signs the bottom of it. And he doesn't have self-employment, so you just scroll through, don't print those pages. And then here is his 92006 form. And in his particular case, I went ahead and filled it out as though he did have an emergency contact person. And it's going to force them to fill everything out. And he has a daughter. It requires them to at least check one of these boxes, and then they sign. And since he didn't have any documents that he needed to upload, there's nothing there. So once you get to the last form that somebody has to fill out, a signer has to fill out, you'll notice that now this is where they have uploaded a photo of like their social security card or their pay stub, and it'll allow them to upload as many as they want to upload. And this is, I just use this happy face to show these would all be your copies of like pay stubs, social security letters, check statements, savings statements, the receipt from the ATM for their pay card, their monthly pharmacy bill. This is where it would all be located at the very end of everything, all the forms. So basically, all you're going to do is, once everything is signed, you're going to download this to your computer and then just print off what you need. Only print the pages you need. You don't have to print the plain documents that haven't been filled in. Right now there's 58 pages, as you can see at the top here, but you're just going to print off what you need. The other thing there was one other thing I wanted to show you. So say that you didn't want to log back into DocuSign and view it that way. Say you just get an email letting you know that now all the paperwork is completed. And this would be the email. It says annual paperwork, completed annual paperwork. Just click on View Completed Documents. And it's gonna upload for you. It's gonna open for you. And again, it might take a minute because there's a lot of pages there. And then once it opens, you can go up to the top here. You can zoom in if you want to. You can make it bigger or smaller depending on how you want to view it. And you can click on this icon if you want to download the whole thing, just like I showed you in DocuSign if you want to download it, or you can click print. But because a lot of these forms are going to be probably blank, and I'll show you that here in a minute. A lot of these forms are going to be blank because people don't, maybe they weren't self-employed or they don't have real estate. So the form's going to be blank. So I wouldn't suggest printing it. I would suggest downloading it and then just pick and choose which page you want to actually print. But opening it up through the email is basically going to be the exact same thing as what I just showed you from DocuSign. It's going to have those pages, and these pages you don't have to print off. These were just placeholders, so you don't have to print these off. It was just to force them to upload something. But you can print off all the forms that you actually need with all the signatures. And then at the very end is going to be your copies of your receipts, your bank statements, your pay stubs, anything that they have taken a photo of and were able to upload. So you can actually open the document both ways. This way might be easier through the email because now you don't even have to worry about figuring out where to go next in DocuSign. But it'll both go to the exact same place. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. I'm going to take out the blank pages. I'm going to save this file as a PDF so that I can use it to show you what the end results is going to look like. And that's basically DocuSign. And now you can, as long as somebody has an email address or a phone, a cell phone, where they can get SMS messages, text messages, it'll send them a link and they can go on the website and they can fill out the forms, and now you've got your forms filled out. It'll force them to upload photos of whatever you need, and it'll cut down on a lot of what you're waiting on. Hope you enjoy it. If you got any questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of me or Sheldon, just so we can help you through this. Thank you.